Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. This is Matt Williams with the Foundation Roundtable. Tonight, I'm here with Tim Marshall. He is the founder of Defense Mechanisms. So, Tim, welcome to the Foundation Roundtable.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. So this is kind of strange. Tim and I have actually never met.
That's true.
I've just seen some of his stuff, and we are both alumni of MDFI, Trek. So, Trek, Tim and Brandon were on last week, 2 weeks ago, whatever that was. So I've been following his company. I've been seeing how much ground he's been gaining, and I've been just watching the development over the last, how many months have you guys been, or how long has
Yeah, no worries. We should have called it Defensive Mechanisms. That was a hindsight thing there. We just launched in January as far as like live, buying our products and stuff. That's just come on since January. We've been working on the project. Jesse and I have been working on it for all of 2019, and I was doing a little bit on my own even in 2018. So the project is a couple years old now, but as far as selling stuff to people on having a web presence and things like that, just started in January. So real new.
Outstanding. Well, you guys have quickly gained a lot of notoriety. I've seen some pretty big names, not just like picking Instagram, supermodel photos. I mean, I think Will Petty I've seen. Dufresne, is it?
Yep, John.
Yep, John Dufresne. I mean, these are not just regular nobodies. I mean, they're big names in the industry, and they're wearing your gear in classes. They're taking pictures of it and posting it on Instagram. They're like, not all the time when you click on a photo,
right,
these guys like, oh, by the way, this is who this is and who this is that I'm wearing. But they're definitely making sure to make a point that, like, hey man, check this stuff out. And then I saw you guys were in Soldier Systems as well.
Yeah, I think they posted when we released a jacket a couple weeks ago, a month ago, and they pushed that out to their audience too.
I have to say, I am the biggest fan of Ranger Green. I love it.
It's pretty cool stuff. It's pretty cool stuff.
I gotta have I have a really nice rig already, but I did a tracking class with Freddie Asuna in September, and we had doesn't matter what kind of bag it was, but it was a multicam print bag, and we're in the woods I've never been in, right? And we have to leave this thing set up and come back. I thought, I'm never going to find this thing. Well, it's multicam. I didn't realize multicam is like a highlighter in the Michigan woods. But I had Atex IX on with some Ranger Green over it, like a Ranger Green Hill People gear chest rig, chest kit. I'm telling you what, man, those guys that were looking for me were like 15 feet from me. You couldn't see me. So that Ranger Green is outstanding in the Michigan woods. It is.
It's a really adaptive color. It tends to soak up, if it's around a bunch of browns, it browns out. If it's around a bunch of greens, it gets brighter. It's a really adaptive color. Kind of like how Coyote was supposed to be for the brown color, that brown family. Ranger has definitely done that for the green family.
Okay, yeah, I love it. I think it's awesome. So can you tell me, how did you get into the nylon business? Like, what started this road for you?
Yeah, so as far as like defense mechanisms, I'm able to do defense mechanisms because I already own a large outdoor manufacturing company. I own Enlighten Equipment. It's big in the backpacking space. We're huge with thru hikers. We make some of the lightest sleeping bags, jackets for backpackers that exist. More backpackers on the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, Continental Divide Trail, more of them, they use our products more than like REI brand products, right? We're very popular there. And so that really has afforded me the manufacturing infrastructure, the design background, the knowledge of soft goods to be able to jump into defense mechanisms. And I've been doing Enlighten Equipment. And I think I started sewing stuff in like 2006 in my basement. I did the small business route where I made everything myself, and I was a backpacker and needed to make gear for myself, and then started selling to my buddies and started selling online. The very traditional small business evolution, where it grew from one guy in a passion to his family, and then it's some friends, and then at one point we had 120 people working in our shop.
Wow,
it's crazy.
That is great. So let me make sure I get this right. You started making gear because you couldn't afford to buy good gear. So you're making your own?
I was making gear. I mean, it definitely making gear is an affordable way to acquire gear. But when, like in the early 2000s, when I started doing it, the ultralight backpacking community was really small and really niche, and almost all good gear was self-made. There was a couple small companies, but there was a huge community of people that I was a part of, that we were all kind of developing what is today considered standard backpacking gear. We were all developing that in our basements back in like 2005, 2008, that kind of stuff. And so it was really the only way to get that kind of gear made the way we wanted it made, because we were really inventing what now are really common product categories.
So what caused the jump from lightweight backpacking into, you're talking about a completely different clientele?
Completely different, yeah.
Like, unless you're going to make, I'm sorry, there's like a giant deer walking across my front yard. Distracting. Unless you're making sleeping bags or quilts or whatever, these things are, I mean, again, clientele is completely different. Everything is different. What made this jump from this, from lightweight backpacker to, we're into the defensive stuff now?
So there's really three things. Let's see if I can keep them all straight. The first thing is we were starting to get some military contracts with Enlightened Equipment. We were starting to see some small specialized units. We're getting our really lightweight gear we sent a bunch of booties with like Navy SEAL Team 3 for an Arctic. They had like an Arctic training, and we supplied them with insulated socks. We sent a half dozen sleeping bags to some other, unnamed unit. Like we were always working with like third-party supply, and they always want to tell you like how high speed these guys are, but they can't tell you who they are, that kind of stuff. So we were seeing a lot of that kind of business just kind of happening through the nature of making really light, really cutting edge products. And Defense Mechanisms is us wanting to do that on purpose, really not happening into that business, but really making products that target that audience. We already know that those high-speed units, they have a big gear budget, and they want the lightest, smallest packing, best performing stuff. And so that's one of the reasons we went with Defense Mechanisms, is just we were already getting that business, and we really wanted to intentionally design and cater those products to that market versus just some crossover. That was a part. Another part is that I am an obsessive kind of guy. Like I get something in my head and I just can't let it go. And I've been training, in the firearms industry. I've been training since 2018. So I'm very new. I owned some guns for a few years before that, but like as far as training and dedicating myself to, being a professional with a gun versus just a guy who plinks, that's just been the last couple of years. But it was really very quick that I could see that the gear just didn't do what I wanted it to do. It didn't work the way I wanted it to work. And there's a lot of good gear out there, but this brand would have one really good feature and this brand would have one really good feature, but those two features wouldn't exist in any one product together, that kind of stuff, And knowing that I have a solid background in soft goods manufacturing, I've always been the singular product designer for Enlightened Equipment. I have an eye for design and function. And so just kind of was unhappy with some of the gear that I could buy and could use, and wanted to make it better, knowing that I already then had this avenue through Enlightened Equipment where we were starting to do business with this community, where we then wanted to do it on purpose. I wanted to just take those two things and kind of combine them into one, in purpose-built brand.
Awesome. So who is testing your gear? Are you the primary? I mean, how's that working?
Yes,
you've got a bunch of you've got
yes.
different stuff up.
So
I know these answers. I mean, because I talked to Heath Owens last year at Dark 2, and he had your belt. Dude, I gotta have one. I have to have one. I talked to Matt Benius. Yeah, I talked to Matt Benius in Ohio. He's always at Alliance. He's like, dude, he makes, bar none, the best. Everything about it is better. He has all the good features of every plate carrier. All of them are on his. So he sees everything, all of it, because you know how much time he spends in the shoot house. So
not as much as me though.
No, ooh,
not as much as me. I guarantee, Matt. I know that you don't. Right now he's on holiday. So that's a big part of it too, right? I just train all the time. I'm in Alliance twice a month, and I'm in Minnesota, right? So it's a 10-hour drive for me, 11-hour drive to get out there. I was there last weekend. I'll be there next weekend for Shoot House. I'm working with Joe.
You must have a very understanding wife.
We have a pretty good deal. I go to Ohio twice a month, and she goes to Tennessee once a month, and then we have to hang out the other week.
Oh, jeez. Well, that's cool. Joe Wire is awesome. I would be lying if I said he and I were friends. I met him for a class. I really like Joe. I can't say like, yeah, we're buddies, and I don't talk to him. I don't think he's a face.
You should.
I just don't want to bother people. If I don't have anything important to say, you're not going to hear from me. Like, I really like Trek and Tim and Brandon and Carrie, but unless I have a question or I know people are busy, and they've got 100 dipsticks like me that are calling them, asking them dumb crap all the time. I'm not going to be the guy calling like, hey man, how you doing? What's been going on? It's great weather, right?
I had that conversation with him just the other day.
Oh, well then, shoot. Maybe I'll call Joe and be like, hey man, you remember when I slept in your basement?
A big basement. It's a good basement.
Dude, that place is awesome.
I stay there every time I'm in town.
Yeah. Joe is a very gracious host. The people there are great. Heck, even Matt Benius was like, bro, if next time, if you need to, come crash at my place, Holmes. Like, what a bunch of awesome folks out there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, so who's using the gear? Like, you're just anybody that that trains often and always?
So because like Joe calls me up like someone who trains professionally. That's what Joe like. Whenever I complain about stuff, he's like, "Oh, you train professionally," blah blah. And so because of that, I've trained with Will and Chase. I just trained with once, but I trained with Will a bunch of times. Chase Jenkins and Will Petty from Centrifuge.
Yep.
They're together now. And so I've trained with those guys a bunch, and being on the range with them, they're seeing the gear and they're asking about it. And so, we just strike up a conversation and ask them if they want to test some gear for us. And so, you see Will running our jacket because I just asked him if he'd run it and give me feedback and tell me what he thought. And, we're not paying those guys to go tell the world about us, but we see each other in class. We take their classes, and we build a relationship and send them some gear. John Dufresne's, Jesse's known him through so Jesse from Practically Tactical. I don't know if we said that yet. He's my number 2 guy at Defense Mechanisms. He and I started it together. And so obviously he knows a lot of people from doing Practically Tactical. He's very much in the industry. And so that's helped us connect with guys like a John Dufresne who, he just did his plate carrier video where he said we were his new favorite plate carrier. I mean, what an honor that is to, sell a plate carrier for 3 months and be somebody's new favorite.
Yeah, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
So with all the craziness that's happening, and I don't want to turn this into a political discussion at all, but all the crazy that's going on and the rush we've had on gun shops, we have a ton of new members into this community of gun owners. Whether they want to be in the community or not, that's up to them. I mean, they're still in no matter what, right? It's just how far do they want to take it? Yeah. How do people know first, how do people know, do I need to take it so seriously that I get this kind of gear? And then 2, how do I know what's for me?
I mean, taking it seriously is one of those things, right? Like, I don't think that everybody who owns a gun has to have a plate carrier and a battle belt set up. Like, I don't think that that's a must, right? I have that stuff as a civilian. I have it because I train Shoot House all the time, and so it is a must for me because of my choices. But I think like we make a really basic rifle sling. Like anybody who owns a rifle needs a rifle sling. We make ankle medical carriers. Anybody who carries a gun, right? You're willing to put a hole in somebody if you need to. You really need to carry the gear and have the knowledge to patch a hole in somebody if you need to. So do I think that everybody who owns a gun should go out and get Shoot House level training? No, I do not. But do I think that everybody who owns a gun should be responsible with that gun, should have the training and skill set to move around people? I mean, I see this all the time. I have, some friends in like the Liberty community who, they're all nervous about the government. And so they want to be prepared. And so I get together with them and I'm like, hey, let me teach you some things. Let me show you some things. And they don't know how to move around each other with their weapons, right? They don't know how to be safe and not muzzle each other and to get online and stuff like that. And so I think if you're going to be a gun owner in any capacity, if that thing sits under your bed at night, it's a shotgun, and you only ever touch it, if somebody breaks in your door, you probably should still know how to move around your family with it. You should know how to move through your home with it in a way that it's safe and you control that muzzle. Where's your finger go? Where's the safety, right? Like, I think that people get the gun and it gives them this false sense of security. They're now invincible when realistically, man, all you are is a liability until you're trained, until you have the skill sets to use that thing in a professional manner.
I'm glad you used that word, liability, and I absolutely agree with you. I think that you can make a case that if you are willing to spend the money on a firearm, you should be willing to spend the money on training, because just knowing what end of the gun you don't want to be on is not enough, right?
Not enough.
And I think it's gotten very tired to say, well, you've been driving since you were 16, but you're not a NASCAR driver, right? That's like, all these things get tired out. So I've started using, like, you've known how to throw a punch for most of your life, right?
People don't know how to throw a punch.
Well, they think they do,
right?
Until they stand in front of somebody who's had 6 months of boxing lessons, or they
2
wrestle
weeks,
around.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They wrestled around with their brother their whole lives. Now they spend 10 minutes on the mat in a jiu-jitsu class, a BJJ class, and now they're like, I can't breathe. You know what I mean? So I think if you're willing to spend the money on the gun, you should be willing to spend the money on the training. And if you are so serious that you think you might have to use the gun in self-defense, at some point you might want to look at plates in a plate carrier. I mean, it just, how far can it go in your mind? I don't know. Can your imagination run away with you? Yes. If you allow it to, you'll go crazy. I get it. If you listen to Alex Jones for too long, you're going to be in the backyard in 2 weeks digging a bunker. I understand.
Tinfoil hats, right?
Yep.
I think as far as plates for like self-defense, I think it's pretty unrealistic, right? Like, how much time are you going to have to put on your armor and your helmet and your combat pants, when someone's kicking your door at 3 a.m.? Like, it's probably not. I keep that kind of stuff in my car so that if ever, something's happening that I happen to be rolling up on and I have time, like, maybe I get it, maybe I don't. But as far as being able to deploy that in any kind of like home defense, it's probably not super likely.
I absolutely agree with you. I do. But I think that these folks bought guns because they didn't think that I'm trying to put myself in where their mind might be. I don't think they bought guns because they think that someone might break into their house. I think that they bought guns because they're afraid of riots in the streets. Maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. But
I think they're worried about that toilet paper stash.
I threw a weird flex out the other day. I TP'd my own house. Now people are like, whoa. Mike Walls, Mike asks, where does someone start for the basics above just having a permit? We talking about a gun permit here, Mike? With basic gear, you mean? If you mean basic gear, I'll let Tim give his thoughts and I'll give mine, or vice versa. You want to go first, buddy?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to be able to read the comments. I got to like switch pages.
Oh, let me click on it for you here.
So I think there's a lot of answers to this question, and it really depends where you live and what kind of money you're willing to spend. But there is probably someone within an hour's drive of you teaching something called Pistol 1, something called Pistol 2, right? I'm not sure that every regional trainer is the greatest firearms trainer in the world, and there's definitely something to be said about training with the right people. But also, if all you have is a CCW, it's going to be pretty hard for you to go backwards. And so I would recommend training somebody local. It'll be affordable. You'll get it. It won't cost you an arm and a leg to train with somebody local. You don't have to go train with Steve Fisher for your first pistol class ever, right? I trained with in Minnesota where I live. I trained with QSI training in Minneapolis. It's very affordable training, 1-day classes, 2 hours from my house. Excuse me. And they really helped me get up to speed with basic gun handling things that, I thought that I already knew, but once I get to a class, I realized I just didn't know how to move around people. Where's my finger go? How do I hold the gun? Stuff like that. You have to start there. Even if you think you have that stuff down, training with someone, even a regional level professional, they will show you stuff that you don't know.
Right. I think one of the main things when you're looking for how do I know if this instructor's any good? Ask them these questions. Well, ask them this question. When's the last time you took a class and what was it? Who'd you train with? It's important. And as a student, you should be able to ask those questions. I mean, have some respect when you do it though, right? Like, oh, so yeah, who do you train with, bro? Like, you can't do that. You make sure you're approaching this person correctly, right? So there's that. And does this person talk about the importance of continuing education? Are they showing you that? Ask them if they have any medical training. Do they do a medical briefing at the beginning of the class? If they don't, that's not the place for you. You should run away. You should leave and ask for a refund. If there's no medical briefing, it means this: I don't know how to fix you or help you if you or someone else has a negligent discharge and someone is hurt. And if they don't have that information, they don't care enough, they don't know enough, or they don't think enough of you to rectify that situation. And if they're not there yet, then you shouldn't be there yet. That's my opinion. And then if you still can't find somebody, ask someone like me. It doesn't have to be me because I don't have all the answers. I have some, Tim has some. The Practically Tactical guys, they are a fantastic resource. And if you're not watching them, I definitely suggest that you take the time to, listen to Nick, listen to Jesse, and listen to Jeff. Those guys.
I mean, not Jeff, maybe not Jeff.
He's just mad at me because I have nicer hair than him. I understand, Jeff. It's a terrible way for a gay man to live. Terrible when a guy like me has nicer hair. I don't know what to tell you. How horrible. He's going to beat me up.
You got to pick on Jeff.
I love Jeffrey.
Same. That same question, he was saying that it didn't look like he had anybody local. And so if that's the case where you don't have a regional level trainer local to you, then you should be looking for these national guys who travel. Sentinel Concepts, right? Steve Fisher, he all his essential carbine, essential handgun classes would be a great place to start. MDFI, all over Michigan, they offer all kinds of classes, a fantastic place to start. And then Alliance PD in Alliance, Ohio, Joe Wire teaches handgun and carbine classes. And I personally could never recommend anyone more than I recommend Joe Wire when it comes to training. Everything I've ever learned, Joe has retaught me the right way. He's changed and restructured. So I can't mention him enough. Whenever anybody's looking for training and they're willing to drive and they don't have something local, I always tell them to go look for Joe first. And if it's not Joe, Alliance also hosts a lot of other really good trainers. And so if you're anywhere within 4 or 5 hours of Alliance, Ohio, it's really hard to find anything better.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there at Alliance. And they even have deals with the local hotels as well, where you say, I'm here for the Alliance police training. And they'll make sure you have a deal, get a hold of Alliance through email.
Holiday Inn Express.
That's right. You'll get a deal if you let them know you're there for classes. So that's cool that they have that relationship. I really have always enjoyed learning from Trek. I've not been in a class with Brandon yet, but I've been in a class with Trek, Tim, Jeff has taught me a lot. Jeff, Tim, Trek, Nick, Jesse, and Joe. Matt Benius as well. And he's going to see this.
Don't train with Matt Benius.
You never taught me anything, Matt. You look like you're 43.
He's like 24 years old.
I know.
He's the oldest looking young man I've ever met.
Dude, I harangued him. I couldn't believe. Like, how old do you think he is? Like 42. They're like 26 or whatever. I was like, yeah. I almost had a stroke. I have more hair on my forearms than he has on his head. Yeah, but you look like you polished that, bro.
There's a lot of work that goes into this.
Yeah. Let's see what else do I have for you here. So hold on, let me see. I want to back this up because we're answering a question for Mike here. Oh, he's in North Dakota. I'm willing to try. Holy crap.
Yeah, North Dakota.
Well.
That's the wrong side of things.
my geography is not doing me a lot of favors right now. Who's out there? Right.
I think if you just need to go to some of these national level trainers websites like Sentinel Concepts, he travels all over the place. Steve Fisher's everywhere. If he doesn't have a class within 5 hours of you at least twice a year, it would blow my mind. He's always traveling. There's a lot of these dudes, John Dufresne, like they're out in like Utah, and like they travel. And so if you don't know people that are local, then just start searching down some of these national level instructors and check their schedules, because they do travel. I mean, that's how they make their money, right? They beat the streets and they train people all over the country. So
yeah, I know. I've never taken a class with Steve Fisher, but I know that he does. I know he is, he's on the street all the time. I know he's done podcasts with Practically Tactical guys while he was driving on his cell phone, like with the little thing on the dashboard. So yeah, man. I think I agree with you 100% there. Just find a national instructor that you want to get in with. That, or man, just set aside some time and fly out to Ohio, come out to Michigan, get in with Trek, get in with Alliance. What else I want to ask you here? Dude, I think I ran through all of the questions I wanted to ask you, so we can talk about anything we want now. The cool thing about this show is it doesn't all have to be gun-centric. I want to talk about your gear. I do.
Whatever you want to do.
What makes... Okay, I've had, no joke, in the last 4 days, I've probably had 7 people ask me about plate carriers. I've got one that I actually use. I've got an old Blackwater rig. I mean, oh my God, that's horrendous. I know a little bit. I don't know a ton. What is it that sets yours apart? I know the price is outstanding.
Yeah,
the price is fantastic.
It's nice.
But dude, and the color options are great. You can get all kinds of stuff for them. What I like is I can buy my rig from you, and I can buy all the stuff I want to put on it from you. I don't have to then go to, SOE or Spirit of Systems or, I can buy everything right from you guys. So what is it that sets your rig, your plate carrier apart?
You mind if I just grab one?
Please do, please.
Let's see if I can get this thing in frame. So this is mine. I just wore this at Shoot House last weekend. I'll be wearing it at Shoot House again next weekend. And so because from my Enlightened equipment background, my ultralight backpacking background, I tend to prefer minimalism. I tend to be a guy who doesn't want a bunch of extra unnecessary things and features on my gear. And so our Mission Essential plate carrier really started as a slick carrier. Sorry, my headphones are tangling up. It really started as a slick carrier. We wanted nothing on it. It needs to hold plates and it needs to stick to our body. And then we just kind of started adding the minimal features that we need. I don't really have a good frame here, but something that I like and that we wanted to add was an admin pocket. Because I train a ton of Shoot House. A little notebook with a little Right in the Rain notebook with a pen is a pretty valuable piece of information, or a nice tool where I can keep information on it. A lot of Shoot House runs, you're simulating hits on buildings, and so you're keeping track of address, you're keeping track of targets, descriptions, stuff like that. And if ever, for me, I'm a civilian, I don't operate, but if ever I needed to do anything in the real world, I probably would want to make notes and keep those notes on my person. And so I like an admin pocket for that, but a lot of admin pockets are like Velcro shut and they become very hard to open. So we just have a really simple zip. They're very loud. Zipper can be opened pretty much as quiet as you want. You can just creep it along. Sneaky.
Well, the other thing that it's a drag about Velcro stuff like that is if you're wearing gloves, like mechanics gloves, they tend to snag on stuff, and it drives me nuts.
I mean, there is definitely no shortage of Velcro on our kit, right? Like modern kit is covered in Velcro. There's Velcro
absolutely. I get it, but something like that is. Anyway, go ahead, continue.
Yeah,
please.
no worries, man. It's just so we wanted an admin pocket, right? We wanted the addition of a molly field in the front. Up on top. This is it's a solid field of Velcro, but also it's on different pieces of webbing, so you can individually molly stuff in. It goes flat real quick, so it's like for me, I don't run any kind of Nexus board or any kind of nav or anything up front, but it's there if you need it. But it's slick plus, right? In the back, it's slick, big Velcro field. But one of the things that we ran into is we needed to run PID on our kit.
Yep.
And if you run a big name badge on the back of your Velcro here, there's not a lot of room for that. So we just gave you one more row of Molly back here if you needed to like lace a glow stick in there, something like that for kind of nighttime work. You can lace stuff in, or you can Velcro things on top. It's Velcro and Molly.
So guys, when you're doing shoot house class and the lights go out, that stuff is extremely important. That's on there for. I want to make sure like we keep in mind that when we're
not everybody trains the same stuff, right?
Yeah, when we're using some of the high speed, low drag terms or whatever, we got to make sure we're running this down to some of the new for the new folks.
PID, personal identification. That's it.
Yep.
It's real simple.
Outstanding.
It's a light so you can see me and you don't shoot me in the back.
I thought, dude, I teach CPL classes, and I thought about getting an orange shirt made. My friends at Iron Unicorn were like, dude, bro, we'll make it whenever you want. But I teach CPL classes, and on the back I wanted to say, please don't shoot me.
I mean, it's nice, right? Like not getting shot is a good thing.
You know what? I want to go home with as many holes as I woke up with, and I don't want any extras. Plate carrier, right? We covered the back, so the cummerbunds are Velcro on; they don't come off. Somebody asked a question about. You have a ton of options for those.
We like options for cummerbunds. I like a thin cummerbund personally, so I run the 3-inch. Right now I'm running a mesh instead of a hybrid because I wanted to be able to attach some stuff at the very back of the plate carrier, the cummerbund, excuse me. There's a couple different options. So somebody had asked about like our plate carriers, how do they work for fluffy dudes? So now we only offer them in medium for medium SAPI plates or for commercial 10x12 plates.
Okay.
But we are developing a large and an extra large. I'm sure we'll do a small too, but realistically nobody needs a small. So we're working on the bigger sizes, but I'm 6'2", 250, and I run a medium carrier, no problem. It just requires me to be aware of the cummerbund. Like I can use our large cummerbund, our large extra large, or our small medium, depending on. I wear a medium in the mesh and a small medium in the hybrid. Cummerbunds, there's so much adjustability in the back. You can run them all the way out or all the way in, or you can even overlap them. So there's so much adjustability that almost everybody fits our medium. If you wear an extra large t-shirt or smaller, you can wear our small medium cummerbund in a hybrid or our medium cummerbund and mesh. If you're bigger than an extra large t-shirt, then you jump up to the large extra large.
That's really cool, man, because one of the issues I always have with buying something you just can't go to, Main Street and go into a tactical store and try on stuff, right? That's always the issue for me is how do I know if it's not comfortable, I don't want to be wearing this under stress. I don't want to find out in the shoot house class, this sucks, It's important. It's important too to you feel like a goofball, like you're dressing up playing G.I. Joe, but you need to put all this stuff on.
You got it. You have to.
Today, I put all my gear on, threw on a backpack as well. I left the rifle, but I let my kids go out half hour ahead of me, and I tracked them. I found them through the woods, and I found out, oh crap, I got this, hot spot here, kind of thing I put on. You've got to try all that on. But you can't ever find out, well, this sucks until I've already paid for it. There's no returns because it's custom. So it's really nice to know that.
Well, we actually do. Obviously, we do some things that are custom. Like like my plate carrier this is a little different than what we sell on our site. As the owner, I get perks, right? So I went out. I went out and bought the multicam Velcro that right now we don't offer. But for the most, other than the multicam Velcro, which would just be $10,499 on ours, this is just the multicam plate carrier off our site. This is not a custom price. It's made to order, but it's not custom. And so all of our standard offerings are totally refundable. If you say you get 2 cummerbunds because you want to figure out which size you are, send back the one that doesn't fit. We definitely we don't want to make it hard for you. Like you said, you can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't try it on. We want to make it easy for you to figure out what you need. So if you have to get 2 cummerbunds to figure out what size you are, then get 2 cummerbunds and send one back. And if you get it in Ranger Green, it's no problem because it'll be sold in a week, tomorrow.
Right.
Everybody's buying Ranger Green.
I can't find anything that works as well in Michigan as Ranger Green. I love it. I'm definitely getting a new carrier from you. Definitely getting one of those jackets. And yeah, I love
See
it.
this is Deadbird, so I don't like this. But it's Ranger Green. It's Ranger Green.
So you guys have, safe to say, that you've got some tricks up your sleeves right now. You've got some new stuff in the pipe. I'm sure you've had a little bit of downtime with all the craziness going on. Going back to work on what, Monday, Tuesday, something like that.
So we didn't take advantage of the defense exemption to keep defense mechanisms going. Well, Enlightened Equipment had to be shut down for the first 3 weeks. But we just can't continue to be shut down. So we're going to take advantage of the defense exemption and get defense mechanisms back up and running on Monday with just a couple stowers who will be able to just get gear cranking again, which is nice because we were basically caught up when we shut down. So our lead times are still true, and nobody's waiting too long for stuff. But yeah, we are going to get cranking again with defense mechanisms. It'll just be a skeleton crew starting Monday because our typical like Enlightened Equipment is still shut down, but we're able to use that defense exemption. The Trump administration, they declared all firearms related industries to be essential. So we're able to utilize that exemption to get DM production back up and running. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we would have come out with by now had we not been, at home for 3 weeks.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see everything you guys have going on. I mean, I went to your Enlightened Essentials page, and I just like it's not. I don't think this stuff is for me, but I really like it. Like, last week I took the kids in the woods, and we just had I don't know what you call it, we just used a regular cargo tent tarp and made an open face tent, had a campfire, and it was just awesome. Like, I would love to have some of that type of stuff, but I don't know with my 3 little monkeys if that quite for me, but man, it sure is cool. So I know, seeing that, you guys are going to probably ruggedize a few things a little bit, and then bring some of that over. I'm hoping.
Yeah, no, that's definitely. I mean, the Helion jacket, our new jacket on defense mechanisms. It's a spin-off of the Tora jacket, which is a really ultralight jacket that Enlightened Equipment makes. We have some sleep systems that we're planning on spinning over. Like you said, ruggedized versions, a little heavier fabrics, a little more like the matte finishes, a little more concealable color choices and stuff like that. No, the list is pretty endless. We're gonna, one of the next products to come out with, I don't mind telling some secrets, right? We're gonna be doing a really lightweight packable set of rain gear. And so it's going to be like, I'm taking a little bit of a risk, right? Because the tactical community is not really known to be gentle on equipment. And I'm taking a bit of a risk because I'm coming out with some fragile gear, but it's 6 ounces for a rain jacket, which is unheard of, right? Unheard of light, just over a quarter pound, about a third of a pound. And so yeah, a third of a pound, that's math. Just over. Too many beers already.
I was going to say, how many full beers and half beers have you had?
I had 2 since we started, and who knows how many before.
Oh, boy.
But you know what I mean? So we're dealing with a 6 ounce rain jacket that's helmet compatible, that you can keep packed away. And, it packs down to like a tennis ball, softball, nothing.
Wow.
But it's definitely not like your hard shell, right? It's not like 6 days in the rain, rucking through the bush, low crawl. It is not that jacket. And so I'm concerned that guys are going to try to make it that jacket and it's going to rip on them and they're going to freak out. But our hope is for guys, again, like those customers that I was, some of these tier 1 groups that I've been selling gear to, they really need that lightweight stuff that can disappear in their pack until the moment they need it. And it doesn't, it allows them to carry more mission essential stuff like comms and ammunition or whatever their specific missions need. But, and then have that piece of rain gear or sleep gear or whatever that they can then deploy when they need it, but also realize that, a lot of those guys are using gear in more of an expendable kind of way. If they pull out my rain jacket, some tier 1 group of guys, I'll pull my rain jacket out for a 36-hour mission and half the guys rip the thing. They're just going to pull a new one out of the box before the next mission. And so recognizing like that is the piece of gear we're coming out with, very light, very packable, very functional, right? It's an awesome functional piece of rain gear, but it's not the same durability, that dudes are used to, like the LE crowd, right? LE is a lot different than Mill when it comes to that kind of stuff. As far as longevity of gear, LE typically wants that gear to last, their lifetime and then their kids' lifetime.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm taking a bit of a risk with some of that, but I think it's a really cool piece of kit as long as people understand, as long as we can help people understand what it is and what it isn't.
So for us, it's going to be more standing around. Like, so you're in a class, you're in a shoot house class. It's in between runs in the shoot house, or it's when you're not on the line. Is it made to go over your carrier, your plate carrier?
It depends how you size it, right? Like if you buy your like true to size, then it would fit. It'd be like under a carrier. It'd be like standing around in a class. If you throw it over a carrier, you could do that without zipping it probably. And then if you go the next size up, you'll be able to throw it over a carrier. But you're still probably, like, if you're running a carrier and a placard, you're still probably not zipping that all the way.
You're not zipping it up. No way. So nobody's zipping it if they throw it over their carrier, because I'm not running a carrier.
If you're like a small and you bought a large, then maybe, right? But realistically, how many classes do you go to that require a kit?
Not many. I mean, unless you go to a shoot house class, or you just want to get used to, like, tell the instructor, here's what I'm doing and why. Are you cool with me? Never.
Right.
Never. Nobody. I honestly, I enjoy going to a carbine class and running mags out of my back pocket, because that's how I'm probably going to be doing it anyway. Just like I'm wearing pants while I'm at the class, because I'll probably be in my underwear and flip-flops at home.
That's how that's going to be. If you even have the flip-flops, right?
Yeah, I mean, probably not. I don't even have Crocs, man. Like, what are you going to do? So let's see. Like I said, I've run through the questions that I have. So anything you want to show me or us, you want to talk about, dude. Or, anything.
I don't know. There's no more questions. There's no more questions.
No, I don't know if everybody's just hanging out or what, but yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't know. For me, I like kit that's designed for, purpose, that's streamlined, but also that takes multiple uses in mind. Like, I'm just gonna start grabbing some kit here.
Yeah, please.
This is one of my favorite little things. This is our I'm super close, so like there's not a lot of room. This is our direct injury care pouch, or our dick pouch, and
fantastic.
But without the K to keep it classy, right? Like,
yeah.
It could have been the direct injury care kit, but that just would have been vulgar. That would have been vulgar.
That is awesome. Very good.
And so the dick pouch right here, I'm running it just on I run it on my battle belt, because I prefer my medical on my belt, right? My first line stuff. But I don't like a big bulk of medical behind my ass, right? I don't want to. Right. I want to be able to sit down in a vehicle, in a chair, and whatever. And so I like to run medical up front. The direct injury care pouch has a simple attachment system that lets me just create a belt channel. Just the way I can just make a belt channel with it. But I can also, if you'd rather, run it on your plate carrier. Then you just use those two flaps up, and you can run it like a dangler.
Oh, wow.
So then it just dangles up in your plate carrier. You can run it on the front of your carrier, or you can run it. I like to run it up inside my carrier. So that actually runs it flat to my belly versus hanging off the ledge of the front.
Gotcha.
But then the other thing, it also integrates. I don't have them because I don't use it, but we have a strap system. If you wanted to run it as a fanny pack, you can just lock the straps in there, and so then it's a belt pouch, it's a fanny pack, or it's a dangler. And so that's the kind of, right, like all this stuff. Like, I didn't invent the dangler or the belt pouch or the fanny pack, right? Like, I can't take any credit for some amazing design. It's a little square pouch that you put your medical stuff in. I'm hanging a tourniquet off the back of mine because I think it's handy to keep them together. Right. But the things that we can say that we did to it is we cleaned it up. We made it so that when it opens, it's got a tray. It's gusseted, right? So it can't open past 90. So like when you open it, your stuff doesn't fall out.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna, I can't from the ground up invent a pouch. Like, they exist. Sure. And so what I can do is I can right, like,
right. Yeah, they've always been around for a long time.
There's always been pouches. So I can name it something humorous, and I can give it a couple more uses than we're used to. And so that's kind of like with all the pieces of gear that we make. We have this rifle sling. With everything that we make, right? It is the thing that you're used to, right? This is, I can't even get in the frame here.
This is interesting because Jesse showed me his, and I immediately was like, I want one, right?
Yeah,
I
and
mean, if
so
you've ever run a modular sling at all, guys, this is going to be very cool.
I can't figure out where the frame
Yeah.
is, but you know, it's a 2-point sling, and right now it's stowed against the side of my rifle. It's a little floppy because I just ripped it off there, but it's there we go. Stows against the side of your rifle. It has a couple of elastic loops that lets you stow it and keep it flat. So if you need to have it in a patrol rifle, I think Petty talks a lot about. Petty makes a sling similar and talks a lot about the value of having a sling that's stowed. So if you have to deploy this from inside your vehicle, it's not snagging up on stuff, and that's solid. The same thing for home defense rifle, right? If I need this beside my bed or in one of those easy access safes that some people have, where they're like it like locks the trigger guard and the mag well, that kind of thing. I want the sling stowed. I don't want to stumble over the sling if I need to deploy the rifle right now, and so it allows access to all fire controls, charging handle, just from this stored position. I keep bumping it off because it's weird handling right now. But then it's just as easy to deploy. I just give it a yank. I got a sling. I'm a necklace guy, but my headphones are in the way right now. But it's a 2-point sling, right? Like I can't say that any of these pieces of gear that we're making are reinventing the world here, right?
You're cleaning everything up, making it.
I'm so close.
Smarter, faster. Knocking off the rough edges. So, guys, if you don't get what he said, I'm a necklace guy. He just means he throws his head through the sling. He doesn't put an arm through as well, so it's not like the gun's not under his arm, behind him, or hanging at an angle in front of him. It's just hanging straight down, so he can pick the gun up and still have the sling around his neck. This gives him a lot of options to move.
If I let the gun hang ever, then I swim into it.
Okay.
I put my arm to it and I let it hang. I roll it over so the fire controls are up. But if I'm doing any work, right? If I'm in the shoot house, if I'm doing work and I need to use multiple positions, I have to have it necklace. You can't go to you can't do a high carry with your arm in the sling. You can't really do a lot of like low carry work. It starts to become an issue. It catches and hangs up on gear. So I just run it on a necklace. But again, my headphones and everything, I'm like,
I get you.
I'm like arms linked from the camera right here. But, something else on here is one of the things that has always driven me nuts about these slings is two things. Is some slings have a loose tail, right? When you adjust it, there's a bunch of tail just hanging everywhere. I hate that. There's a number of slings on the market that don't have that, and so definitely we're more like those because I just can't stand stuff hanging around. I don't want a bunch of loose crap on my right. Once you put a carrier on, you put a helmet on, you already have a bunch of snag hazards, and so I don't want my sling to be another snag hazard. But something that always drove me nuts is these adjustment tabs can be really hard to find on some slings. And there you go. I got to put my foot through it to give it some tension. But we designed the tab to be part of the body of the sling so that whenever there's any tension at all, there it is, any tension at all on the sling, the tab sticks out at a 90. It never lays down against the side of the rifle. It's never forward. It's always out at a 90. So every time you reach for it, it's hanging out at that 90 degrees. It's always you can always find it because it's always perpendicular to your sling. So is that some massive reinvention? No, it's not. Is it a
but it's making it smarter.
Yeah, it optimizes.
It's making it smarter, especially people don't understand when the first time you try to open a door in a shoot house class with a partner. I've said this before. You're both staring at the door. Neither one of you know what's happening. Your brain turns to oatmeal, and it's like, I know someone's supposed to do. The last thing I want to do is be trying to fumble around with my sling because now, also I have gloves on and it makes my hands stupid. So the less things you have to fight with, the less mental gymnastics you have to perform, the better. If I'm trying to grab that tail and I'm also grabbing the sling body, that's an issue, right? So you're making things smarter.
It's an efficiency, right? It's efficiency. Like certainly not reinventing the sling, but I'm trying to give you 10% more efficient. So we take away some of those inefficient movements. If you reach down and you grab the tail of the sling instead of the adjustment handle, well, that's inefficient. If you reach down to grab the adjustment handle and it's not where you expect it to be, that's inefficient. So I'm not necessarily making some massive change or overhaul to the idea, but I'm trying to take the ideas that already exist and make them more efficient.
Right. So let's say we've got a lot of new people and they're like, I just don't think I need a plate carrier. But there are other things that you guys make, like that sling. That is awesome. I'm going to have one in Ranger Green. Right? I mean,
mine are all Ranger Green, yeah.
Yeah, see, dude, I am a huge fan. I am sold on Ranger Green after, like I said, that teaching that class with Freddie. But the med kit, if you don't have any medical training, guys, I cannot stress enough how important that is. I had Carrie Davis on. Yes, see, they have medical kits, ankle kits. I've worn an ankle kit every day for over 2 years. There are some that are not good or comfortable, and there are some that are awesome. My first one was a Frog Pro, I think, and I really liked it. But Jesse is a friend of mine. He told me about this company, and now Tim is a friend of mine. So I bought one of those, and I've been wearing that, and I really like that. So medical is awesome, and medical is for everyone. My 11-year-old Yes, my 11-year-old son went to a medical class, a Dark Angel class, and he did very well. He wanted to be there, mind you, okay? Something he was interested in. It's not something I said, you have to go. And it's like, that's what he wanted for his birthday. But there's a reason that the very first show I had here, which is on, the Facebook page of Foundation Defense, with Carrie Davis of Dark Angel Medical, because that's how important medical information is. If you're so much more likely to roll upon a car accident or whatever, find someone who's had an accident with a chainsaw or negligent with whatever. You're more likely to use medical information than gun information in your lives. I mean, you can roll up on a car accident with like all the guns and bullets in the world. I'm like, well, does anybody need to be shot? Because I can do that. I don't have anything to stop that bleeding though. You know what I mean? Like, so. But yeah, the medical stuff he's got, dude, the jacket, I am really interested in that jacket you guys have. That is so cool.
And very cool. I mean, it really is all about efficiency again, right? With the medical stuff. We've all carried, I mean, I've been using ankle medical rigs for a couple of years myself, and there's a lot of good kit on the market. The Frog Pro is a good kit. I was carrying, Lynx Defense, right? Fine kit. One of the things that we found though is how much easier it is to conceal a tall tourniquet when it's inside along your shin bone.
Yep.
And so I don't know how many other companies offer a left and a right, but we found that to be extremely important to offer left and a right so that you can always put the tourniquet right along the inside of your shin bone where it conceals the best, while then having the other kit stack around your leg the way it's supposed to. If you took the right and try to put it on the left, you could put the tourniquet in that spot, but then all of your other kit would be out of the bulk adds up as it goes. And so it's a minor detail, and it's an extra little annoyance for us to have to offer two different types. But I now wear medical on both ankles every day, because if it costs me nothing to wear it on my right ankle, it costs me nothing to wear one on my left ankle too. And so with the efficiency of being able to have them both, all the same exact kit in the same exact spot, just mirrored on my legs.
That's really smart. Yeah, and I'll tell you, it does make a huge difference, because things around your ankle, if it's not comfortable,
it's got to be right.
You will not wear it. You will not wear it. If it's not comfortable, it's not happening. As soon as, dude, if you like that cover you guys have for the Cat 7, like how it's tall, as soon as that Velcro, that hook Velcro starts rubbing against that skin on the, that's what that cover's for. If it didn't have that cover, it drives you nuts.
The cover does two things, right? So it covers up the tourniquet. So if you have the Cat 7, I believe in soft T wides when it comes to concealed tourniquets. Okay. I think the cats are a lot harder to conceal with the windlass catch. Also, the Velcro becomes uncomfortable, tears your socks up, tears stuff like that. So I prefer the soft T wide for a concealable tourniquet. I think the Cat is probably 5 to 10% more efficient tourniquet, but when it comes to the concealability, I'm willing to make the trade-offs for the soft T. But the pull tab covers the tourniquet, which is nice. It keeps it from getting any wear, but it also functions as deployment. So if I yank on this tab, it actually pops the tourniquet out. And so I can deploy any of the things in my med kit while it's on my ankle by just yanking on these tabs. And all the stuff comes up. Like most med kits, you have to pull them off your ankle before you can really access the things. And we've tested these in a number of force on force classes where we're also doing medical, and we are definitely able to deploy tourniquets, deploy gauze, chest seals, and whatnot while still wearing our kit, which might not seem like a big deal, but when it comes to putting a tourniquet on, if you can save 3 seconds, those 3 seconds matter. And again, it speaks to we're just trying to make the same. There's lots of great ankle kits out there. We just want to be a little bit more efficient.
Right. And the other things that guys, you're not going to ever know the nuanced details that Tim's talking about unless you get into classes and start learning and seeing where there are inefficiencies in the gear that you currently have. Like I said, I loved my Frog Pro, but once that elastic started wearing out, I lost a $45 or $45 combat gauze, man. That's not okay. It's not okay. So like, that's when I was like, okay, yep, Jesse, hey, I'm gonna click send. And that thing was at my house in 7 days, 10 days, whatever it was, I don't remember, but I've been running that ever since. But it is those little things that you won't appreciate until you're in a class and you experience. I wish it was this way. I wish it was better that way. I wish. Well, these guys are putting in the time. They're going, I know how many classes that Jesse goes to. He goes to a ton, 2-3 a month, right?
Yeah, we're at 2-3 a month. We're at 2 a month, and he's teaching 1 a month right now. That's kind of what we're doing.
Right. So, you guys are definitely putting in the time on the square range and the shoot house, the real world-ish range, right? Where that's where you really learn.
How many gear designers do you think are doing the groundwork at VCQB with the kit that they've designed?
Zero.
There's 2 guys I know, right? 2 guys I know.
Yeah. Other than you guys, there's
I don't know anybody. Yeah.
We talked to this guy who was in this special operations group unit. He gave us some input, which is all great. It's fantastic. But unless you are the guy building it or drawing out the actual plans for it, the input is great. But I think it only goes so far. But that's easy for me to say sitting here in my house in Michigan, right? I don't know. I've never made any gear. I wear all kinds of it. But I have found, for me, if I wear it every day, or again, I put my plate carrier on and I went for a wood walk, threw a backpack on. I left the rifle because, just in case. I don't want to, if somebody's our property butts up to a trail, somebody's on that trail, those are questions I don't want to answer, right?
Yeah, freaking people out's not necessary.
It's terrible. It's very bad. I'm just training the rest of militia somewhere around here, guys. I don't need that. That's.
Oh yeah, Michigan militia. That's a real thing too, right?
Oh, I'm not part of that. That was a joke. Let's just make sure I back that up. But any of the stuff that you have, whether it's a holster, a belt, a plate carrier, the ankle rig, the medical kits, any of it, you have to practice with it. Even application of tourniquets, you got to practice that stuff. You got to walk around and find out where you've got hot spots, or things that rub, or this Velcro is touching my skin on my neck and it's rubbing me, whatever it is. You definitely have to spend the time in the gear and find out what you need differently, because oftentimes you're going to find out, if you don't go into it with information, your purchase with information, you're going to find that you just wasted a whole bunch of money. And I've said this before. I think that people will, I could buy this rig from ABC company at the surplus store for $50. Or I could buy one of Tim's rigs and it's more. I personally know which one's going to last me longer. Life and death decisions are oftentimes made at the cash register.
We've all done that though, right? Everybody starts somewhere, and
you do. You
got a drawer full of holsters or a drawer full of belts, or of course, right? We've all been there, right? We all bought the alien gear. We've all been there, right?
Not me.
Yeah, I'm glad. I wish I wouldn't have.
I have I have a crossbreed. That's how far back I go.
Right. We everybody, you have the Condor plate carrier when you weren't sure if, I don't know if this is really for me, or like, we've all done that. And so I don't know that we're ever going to, like, that's kind of how it works, right? You start out with the wrong gun, you start out with the wrong holster, you get the wrong belt, you get the wrong plate carrier. And eventually you start to figure out what you actually do need, what really works. You see in classes, right? Maybe you start with an XD and then like you see what happens to XDs in classes, and maybe that's what happens, right? Like, everybody starts with the wrong gear. And so as much as like people are always asking me what they should buy, I know they're going to go buy the thing that they're going to buy the other thing and not the thing I told them to buy anyway. It don't matter. Everybody gets attracted to the XD or to the, like, whatever, the FMK, right? Like, you buy the wrong stuff in the beginning. You just do.
Right. Well, that's the point. Part of the point of this channel is I want to help people cut that curve out. Learn from the mistakes that I made, that Tim made. Learn from all of the time and money we've put into doing the wrong things, not getting educated. Come here and find some education. You don't have to agree with everything I say or Tim says. You don't have to agree with any of it. I mean, this is like a buffet. Take what you want and leave what you don't. And if you don't like any of it, that's fine too. Leave. It's cool. I understand. I'm not for everybody. Tim might not be either. I get it. Well, Tim is.
I'm an acquired taste.
Well, I just met you today, and already I love you. So we're good. But I think that, if we can, again, shorten that curve for people so they're not wasting time. They're not wasting money. That's why I started teaching CPL classes, man. I was tired of seeing people being bamboozled and getting terrible information, while at the same time, I was getting bad information too. Right. So it took a while for me to dig myself out of that hole. So I think that's something that's going around right now, especially with all the new folks. And that's what really inspired me to start this channel, is just to get information out. And Tim, you own a company where you make things that people are going to be looking at buying. Do I need a plate carrier? Do I need a, whatever? And knowing the quality of the things that you make, I thought, if I can get him on, what a great opportunity. Well, I mean, for me to get you in front of these new folks. I had, 24, 30, I think 24 people for 2 CPL classes that I had to cancel. And almost all of them are brand new.
Right.
Now, that is, nothing in comparison to, like, I don't know how many, 100 people that Trek had to reschedule from April. That's really bad. But knowing that I have 100 brand new, I'm sorry, that would have been great to have 100, but having 24 brand new people with tons of questions, at some point I have a responsibility to them, right? So I'm glad that you were able to make some time to come on here and talk.
Oh man, no problem. I mean, I'm stuck in quarantine too, so.
Right. Let me check see if we got any new questions here. There's definitely a learning curve. We do have one. Eric Douglas. Do you sell anything like an HSGI taco Molly pouches? I want 3 of them for the front of my carrier.
So I do not. The cool thing with the HSGI pouches is they're very adjustable, right? You can throw in 5.56 mags, 7.62 by 39 mags, or even all the way up to like 308 mags. And they're shot cord adjustable. I do not have a system like that because for me, there's a lot going on to accomplish those systems. There's some sort of for HSGI, there's shot cord dangling everywhere. I think First Spear has like an adjustable, like with a dial pouch, and I think those things make a lot of sense. If you need one kit to run a bunch of different types of mags, then that's definitely what you should do. I run 5.56. I always run 5.56, and I will always run 5.56. I don't need a million different. And if I run 7.62, it'll be an AR platform. So for me, I want mag pouches that instead of fitting everything okay, that are very purpose built for the one thing that I use all the time, which is 5.56. And so all of our, this is a 3.5.56 placard this way, 3 mag placard, and it's underneath. Yeah. Like it's the opposite. It's like flying a plane, right? Down is up. So I'm not going to rip this apart because it's super loud, Velcro-y and stuff. But we sell just a three mag placard, and then I'm also running a pistol expansion, double pistol mag expansion, a half pocket expansion, and a pocket flap to turn this into a chest rig. But you can just get the base placard and just run that. It's an elastic. All of our mag pouches are elastic. I think that elastic provides really good retention, and we make them in such a way that they're held open. I mean, for me, these pouches are development off of a very well-known elastic pouch that drove me crazy. I really like elastic pouches, but I want to be able to put my mags back into them. And so the very well-known, that will remain nameless elastic pouch that I used for a long time is fantastic. It retains mags well. You can get your mags out. It's flat and out of the way when you don't need it. But holy crap, if you ever have to re-index a mag, it's 2 hands and maybe a buddy kind of thing. And that didn't work for me, right? In Shoot House, you're always making ready. You're loading out of your speed reload pouch to make sure that none of your gear has gotten in the way of that speed reload if you need it for an emergency. And so every single time you have to put a mag back into your emergency reload pouch. And those flat elastic pouches were not working for me. So all of our pouches are elastic, but they're sewn in such a way. I'm going to grab a belt pouch here. They're sewn in such a way that they're held open. This is an empty pouch. And so you can see that even when there's nothing in it, it's held open. It's still elastic. It's still a lot flatter than a pouch with like a Kydex insert that's always open. Because there's so much good gear on the market, but the more I trained, the more I had reasons to not like any of it. Right? I didn't like the flat elastic pouches because you couldn't re-index. And then I went to pouches made by another fantastic company. They're Cordura side pouches. They have a Kydex insert that held them open all the time. But if you've ever trained with Will Petty, you know that every day he's on the range, it rains.
It rains.
Every single day he's on the range, it rains. And in any Will Petty class, you're doing work on the ground. And if you do work on the ground in the rain in Janesville, where it becomes just giant puddle, any pouches that have a Kydex insert that holds them open become scoops. And so every time you're laying in the ground, you just scoop up more mud into your mag pouch, and then you jam your mag back on top of it, and it causes malfunctions in your weapon. And so as much as those are great pouches, right, the flat elastic ones that we all know what I'm talking about, great pouches. The Kydex insert ones, they're great pouches, but they all have downsides. And if you train if you train Will Petty in the mud, you will find the downsides of a hard pouch. If you train Shoot House and you have to re-index out of your speed reload pouch, you will find the downsides of a flat elastic pouch. And so our pouches are absolutely built off of me finding those downsides in other gear and trying to come up with a way to accomplish the same upsides, but eliminate the downsides.
Right. Roger wants to know, what plates do you use in your carrier?
Yeah. What do you use?
I use shot stop plates.
Shot stop is good.
Dude, I mean, thank God, I've never had to test them. Never had to test them, but I'll tell you what, extremely lightweight for the protection you're getting. And you can drop them. They're not going to crack or break.
Right.
You can go check out the videos of Shot Stop on YouTube. I don't get a discount from them. They don't give me money. They'll tell you that there are videos where guys are hitting them with door breaching tools that look like pickaxes. Then they put them up, 20 yards away, and then dump a mag into them, and there's no pass-through. There's deformation, which, you should expect. And yeah, it's going to hurt while you're wearing the plate, right? But you're not going to have added holes. You're not going to be ventilated. Yep. So
do you have the green tip plates?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I talked to Nick and Jesse after I took Nick, Jeff, and Jesse, and I think I talked to Joe about it, and Matt Benius. And
they all run Shot Stop, yeah.
Yep. I got in touch with the rep at Shot Stop, and he actually kind of hooked me up like a year ago, which was really nice. He didn't have to do that. Just very cool. I think I got like a 10% discount.
I think Alliance has a range discount for them and something like that.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Shot Stop, I think that they make really good stuff. I personally am running Hesco plates.
Okay.
I run their U210. It's a special threat plate, so it's not a level 3 or a level 4. It's like in some ways in between, in some ways less. It's weird. Like it doesn't. It's not rated for M80. It's not rated for 308 ball, like a traditional level 3 would be, but it's rated for 7.62x39 API, and it's rated for M855. So it's kind of in that weird sweet spot for me where I feel like the threats that I would face are going to be green tip, potentially 7.62x39. And so I'm not super afraid that I'm going to face a lot of 308 threats in anything that I would be dealing with in my home defense, any kind of boogaloo or shit hits the fan. Like I don't anticipate like snipers with black tip are going to be shooting. Like I mean, if that happens, I will wish that I would have bought level 4 plates, I guess. But
I have
my background makes me a weight weenie.
Gotcha. I got you.
And so like these plates, I wear an 8x10 plate and I run a foam spacer in it, so it fits in 10x12 carrier because they're like 2.4 pounds of plate. So for 5 pounds, I have green tip protection front and back. It's unbeatable. But it's a trade-off, right? I'm sacrificing some protection. I don't have that M80 ball. I'm not running full level 4. I don't have, I'm sacrificing an inch on each side and 2 inches on the bottom. And so I'm definitely making an educated trade-off because I have a really messed up back, and as much weight as I can shave, the better for me. And so I went with the weight. I like thin too. Thin plates are nice.
Yeah, I agree. So your plate carrier, you said I'm sorry. You said you put the pad in just to make up weight or make up size. So your plate carrier is, ventilate. I can't remember what they call that.
3D mesh.
3D mesh, yeah. So you've got some breathability, and that's cool.
Breathability is kind of a weird idea in a plate carrier because, like, you have this breathable material and then you have a non-breathable plate.
Absolutely. But it's still better than the Blackhawk plate carrier I've got that has no padding.
Right. Like, it's just a little bit of cushion.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they put a coffee filter in there and they're like, there's your cushion. I mean, because it sucks. It sucks. I got it in on a trade. I didn't know any better. Everybody
starts with the wrong gear.
Yes, everybody. All right, guys. I think I'm going to move to wrap this up. We're an hour and 15 into it. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Do you have anything you want to close with, Tim?
No, man. I think we covered it. I'm having fun. Like that's all I wanted to talk about a company a little bit and have a little fun. I think we did it.
Awesome. I had a great time, man. I appreciate you taking time, out of your night, spending it with us at the round table. Thank you, for all of the information. I really do appreciate it. Guys, thank you, for joining in on the conversation. Thank you for the questions, hanging out. I hope you enjoyed it. You guys have a good night. I'm going to wrap this up.